yourselves. Yeah, so welcome again to the International Delphic Academy meeting. We're meeting at the end of May. We meet every couple of months. We won't meet again until July, so thank you for coming. My name's Dr. Thomas Daffern. I'm a philosopher, poet, historian, teacher, and musician and bard. So, I'll say more about that. And I'm the father of Sophia Craig-Daffern, whose work I'll be honouring today, who was tragically taken from us in mysterious circumstances, as I'll explain. Okay, so that's enough from me. Kari, do you want to introduce yourself? Welcome to our meeting.
Yeah. Hello, I'm Kari Heyman. I'm a Sami artist, a northern Sami artist, living up in Sápmi in the northern part of Norway. I'm working with the Sami music style called joik. It's an ancient vocal tradition. And I'm playing the frame drum alongside with that. So I'm a percussionist as well. Yeah, we'll just do it briefly now first, right?
Sure. No, that's great. And we're going to be hearing from Kari a bit later. After I've done my talk, we'll hear some examples of this music that Kari specializes in. And Sophie was a great lover of indigenous culture. She was a druid, and she was herself a singer. So I'm sure she's with us in spirit, even if she can't be here physically on Zoom. Great. Pyrrhus, you're next on the introduction. Go for it.
Hello, can you hear me? My name is Pyrrhus Bakouris, and I'm a Europe consultant, and we've recently done an application to the European Union's Erasmus program. I do many things. One of them, my bread and butter job, is working as a care worker in a hospital for unaccompanied minors. I will elaborate if you want, but we'll leave it from that.
Yeah, and you're joining us from Athens, right, Pyrrhus?
I'm joining you from Athens. Great.
One of my sorrows is I'm not going to be able to take Sophie to Greece now. She was named after Sophia. It's a Greek name. And I always wanted to take her, but she's not coming now, which is very sad. Okay, Ingametta, you're next. Please do introduce yourself. Welcome.
Yes, hi, greetings to all of you. Greetings to Claire, Pyrrhus, Waltraud, Christian, and Thomas, and also Kari. And Kari and myself, we are having the same grandfathers and grandmothers. So we are second cousin, isn't it?
Yeah.
Kari?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So I'm tuning in from the edge of the Atlantic Sea by the ocean. It's not real ocean. It's not like it look outside here, but it could have been if I was on the other side of the hills of Malta. I'm a nature lover. I'm a lover of knowledge. I like to put a title on myself, which is a creative human being and philosopher. I'm on the board here on the International Delphic Academy with Thomas. I know I also recently, 1 hour ago, I was with Waltraud and Christian on the International Delphic Council. A small work meeting. I think this is, and I do many things, and just trying to navigate this reality that we have right now. That's okay.
Great. Well, we'll be hearing from you a bit later after Kari's done her music. We hope you can give us a talk about the Delphic principles, the music, the muses, etc. But thank you for coming, Ingametta. Christian Waltraud, you're next in the list, I think. Do introduce yourself.
Well, I wasn't satisfied with the world of arts and culture. And so I tried to reorganize and strengthen arts and culture in a broader sense, as it's normally, because our society is divided in many sections. And I said, let's not so much focus on that, what divides us, but what unites us. And what unites us the most is arts, is culture, is our cultural heritage. We own all of us, and to share makes all of us richer. And this was the reason to give and to create an initiative, so to speak, the twin sister of the Olympic Games for sports, for the arts, which ancient Greece taught us a lot about. And so I have the privilege to think along the Delphic Games with the help of scientists, of Professor Flasshaar from the Ludwig Maximilian University in Munich. And he helped me to understand what Delphi is all about and how to umbrella arts and culture under one roof, so to speak. And with this, I have the privilege to meet most of you through the arts and hope we will continue to work out the Delphic floor and to make the floor, even extending the floor from the practical arts to the science, and the science to enrich by the practical arts. That's all I can say for the moment.
Right, thank you very much, Christian. And Waltraud, thank you for coming as well from Berlin. So now we have Claire Hedin. Do you want to introduce yourself, Claire? Welcome for joining us.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for correcting the name pronunciation as well. I appreciate that. Also, I'm so sorry for your loss, Thomas.
Thank you.
So I'm a sound healer, a researcher of consciousness, and an educator and a musician and an artist. So I came to this through Inga Mehta. We met a number of years ago during COVID, actually. Some of my best friendships happened in COVID. But I don't have much to say right now. I'm recovering from flu. So I'm just rather exhausted and just in a mode of kind of being quiet and peaceful. So, but
Sure.
Glad to be here.
Okay, well, if you want to share something a bit later, there'll be opportunity. But
Oh,
welcome.
thank you. I appreciate that. Thank
You're
you.
in California, I believe. Yeah.
I am. Sorry, I should say. Yes, I'm in the East Bay of the San Francisco Bay Area. So it's a lovely blue sky today.
Great, blessings. We're just being joined by another friend from California, from LA. Okay, Sean, do you want to introduce yourself from Ireland? Greetings, Sean. Welcome.
Greetings, Thomas, and everyone on this sad day for you, Thomas, or sad occasion. I'm based here in Ireland and I've been working with Thomas, and my background is in peace studies, peace research, and peace action over a number of years. So thanks very much, Thomas.
Well, thank you for coming. And Sean has also worked with lots of musicians and poets in Ireland. It's a land of literature and the arts. And so thank you for joining us. And another sorrow of mine is I can't take Sophia to Ireland. It was on her list of, I must go there. You know, I feel it calling. And it's one of those things I can't do now. It's just ridiculous. So anyway, okay, we're just doing our introduction. Susan Seats, please welcome and do introduce yourself. Greetings.
Hi, I'm Susan Seats, and I saw the service online yesterday. That was very touching. And so sorry for your loss. Oof. Anyways, I'm here. I don't know what to say about myself. I'm a peace advocate, and also I'm on a board of directors. We fund projects all over the world, one of which is arts, tribal, cultural, and musical arts. So there's a group that takes kids from slums and streets and turns them into either dancers, singers, poets, and they house them, and they also pay for their education and teach them the arts. So I would love to get them hooked up with this organization when it comes to fruition.
That's
it.
great, Susan. And you're joining us from near LA, am I right?
From
Somewhere
California, yeah, near LA.
Yeah.
West.
Okay, we have another one. We have someone else from near San Francisco. So there's two from California. Great. Greetings. There'll be space later to share a bit more as we go round. I'm going to do a little talk in honor of Sophia, and then we're going to hear some Norwegian Sami singing from Kari. Ginger, you've just joined us. Do you want to say hello? Welcome, Ginger. Where are you dialing in from? And just summarize what you do and how you met Sophie. Yeah.
Okay, well, what do I do? I guess I heard I'm to be operating in the spirit. So I'm operating in the above realm, the below realm, like middle tokens, middle earth surface. And my intent is for us to be unified in this beautiful, conscious, beautiful, focused, conscious field of intent, that peace will prevail in the cosmos.
Right. And you're joining us from Ecuador, I believe.
Yeah, and I met Sophie last year at that beautiful gathering, and wow. So it was an honor to be able to share her space.
Great. Thank you so much, Ginger. I know she loved you, and I'm going to do a little talk shortly in honor of her memory and all that.
I'm happy to be here. I'm so happy to be here. Okay, muting.
Thank you, Ginger. Yes, you're irrepressible. Shabina, do introduce yourself, please, from your part of the world, a few thousand miles away from Ecuador, I believe. Hello.
Good evening, Thomas sir. I don't know what to say today. I've been gathering courage to actually see you and talk to you. Just know that we're all your family, and in this time of test, that's all I can say, that we're all here with you. We have been with you all this time. Our prayers have been with you. And Sophie is always going to be with us. She's a part of you, so you and her. I don't know what else to say. I'm Shabina. Those of you who don't know me, I'm Shabina. I'm a teacher and a student of English literature here from Kashmir, and a proud Delphin, and a student of directly, indirectly of Thomas. So for almost 2 years now.
Well, you're our teacher too, Shabina. So thank you for joining us. And I'm sure Sophia would have loved Kashmir could she have come. It was another place on the list. So
we were hoping to have that summit here and invite you all here. Things are not up to us most of the time.
Okay, Sharon Friedman, you're joining us from not sure where. Do introduce yourself, Sharon. Hello, welcome.
Thank you. This is Sharon Friedman from North Grovendale, Connecticut. Ginger invited me, so that's why I figured I'd come in. And I'm a student of peace, and that's all I can offer for now. Thank you.
That's everything. We're all students of peace. That's incredibly important. Thank you for joining us, Sharon. Caroline, Carolyn Gowdy, joining us from London. You're an artist. Do introduce yourself. And we're here for a sad occasion, but we're going to celebrate the arts in spite of it all.
Well, you've been in my thoughts, Thomas. I have a prayer which I thought you might appreciate, and I was going to email it to you, but it's to do with grief. It's Isaiah 61 verse 3. I'll send it to you. And also, I've been thinking of you because another. I mean, I am just so sorry for your loss. Words cannot begin to express. I'm just.
It's crazy, isn't it? Yeah. Thank you.
And I don't know if you're familiar with yeah, it's such early days for you. You must just be in complete shock. This is
I have been.
I think to accept, I mean, grief, nothing prepares one for grief, but nothing, you know, it's mental, physical, spiritual. It's such a big thing. And you're just like in the most early days. I hope you're just looking after yourself and getting good support. And at some point you might be interested in looking at the work of David Kessler. Do you know David Kessler?
I don't think so, no.
Anyone heard of David Kessler?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, okay. I mean, you know, he's a bit commercial and kind of, you know, he's an American grief counselor. He worked with Elizabeth Kubler-Ross, who the 5 stages of grief, you know.
Yeah, I knew her work. Yeah.
Well, he was a protege of Elizabeth Kubler-Ross. He's been in the field for decades and decades, and I actually did a workshop with him after my mother passed, and I had some complicated grief with family, and you know, he's interesting.
Okay, I will look him up. Definitely.
I guess what I want to share, the reason for him up, is that his son committed suicide.
Oh my God.
Yes.
Oh my God. Oh God. Okay.
Very recently. Yeah. So, you know, he might be a point of contact at some point. And you know.
Was that before or after his book?
It was about 5 years ago, because I know that when it was in 2016 that I went to see him in a workshop in London at the, where was it? It was at the, I can't recall exactly. Anyway,
anyways, yeah.
Yeah, he had just lost his son.
Okay.
You know,
Well,
within 6 or 7 years,
I met him at Kubler-Ross's. I was their caregiver on Saturdays for about 3 years. Anyway.
Who's speaking?
Right, thank you. Yeah. Let's move on. That was Susan Seats from California joining us.
Nice.
Okay, Alexander, you've just come in. A final introduction from Alexander, who's on the board of the Delphic Academy as well. Greetings, Alexander. Do just introduce yourself briefly, and then we'll move on. Thank you for
Hello,
coming.
everyone. First, my deepest condolences to you, Thomas. Our hearts and thoughts are with you, and you are always, you know, the channel is open if you need, you know, anyone to speak to about all of this. But I would say that we have made some great progress. We have some new people that have expressed interest to support the new International Delphic Foundation, as well as the Delphic Games. And we are just preparing things to put that in front of other patrons of the arts and other institutions that may give us support, as well as to the International Delphic Academy, of course, since that is a, let's just say, the epicenter of where the curriculum of what we want to propose to other schools, universities, etc., to adopt and to embrace the Delphic philosophies. So I'll just leave it at there, and happy to be on this call. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much. Thank you. Okay, so welcome everyone. We're a very, you know, international group, so that's brilliant. What I'm going to do here is, as I said, share a few remarks about Sophia. We've got another person coming in who came to the funeral yesterday in Sussex. And so we had a 2-part funeral in Sussex. It was very moving, honoring the different aspects of Sophia's work. The first part was in a beautiful ancient Christian church in a little village called Clayton, nestling under the South Downs, for those of you that know Sussex. And it was run by a friend of the family who's an Anglican vicar called Reverend James Mosher, who just married my youngest daughter. And it was very moving. It was traditional, you know, Christian, but with a breadth of references. Sophia was a very broad-minded thinker and artist. And I gave what's called a eulogy. And what I'm going to do to begin with this call is run over the ground that I gave in the chapel. It's a eulogy, but I'll have a little more time to expand, and I'm going to focus on, you know, different aspects, and then we can have a small discussion about it for those that want. And then we'll move on to our Norwegian singer and other contributions. So, okay, so let me just say the first point I want to make in this eulogy, and a eulogy means a speaking well, a good speaking, or a speaking about the good. Eu is Greek for goodness or wellness. Pyrrhus can confirm this. Logia is a speaking or words about. So it really means good words. I want to start with her name, Sophia, which my partner and I, we had two children, Helen and Sophia. Helen was the eldest. She chose the name Helen for the eldest child. And we agreed I'd choose the name for the second one, which was when Sophia was born. And I, as a philosopher, someone who'd studied comparative spirituality and philosophy for many years, including the history of ideas and so on, I had to choose Sophia, obviously, wisdom. And really, Sophia did exemplify this as a personality. She was a representative of living wisdom, if you want, looking back on her life. But to choose to have the name Sophia is actually a hard destiny. There's a Gnostic tale in esoteric Christianity of Sophia as the creatrix of this earth, the lost goddess, whom of course nobody honors anymore. In the Judeo-Christian tradition, she's called the Shekinah, the female side of God. In the Solomon literature, she is dancing with God in the creation. But this feminine aspect of God has been neglected, ignored, and indeed persecuted over the centuries. So Sophia is an embodiment of wisdom, the creatrix of the earth, but nobody honors her. And I feel this was Sophia's life story. Now, the wisdom element inside Christianity is also in all the other faiths, in Judaism, in Islam, in Buddhism, in the pagan traditions, the American Indian religion, the Druids. Sophia, wisdom, is like, to me, it's like Ariadne's thread that connects them all up, which can guide us out of the labyrinth of lies that we find ourselves in. The golden thread that connects all these faiths into a divine unity in the mind of the feminine aspect of the goddess. So Sophia knew all this. I've talked to her about all this at length. She was proud to carry that name and did her best with it. And she exemplified that in the arts and in her personality. Anyone that met her would say, yes, this was a true Sophia. I've written, as some of you may know, a book of Thomases about people with the name Thomas. I'd always promised Sophia I'd do a book of Sophias, because there've been a few, but very interesting ones. Like, you know, the Queen of Charlottenburg in Prussia founded the Berlin Academy of Sciences, was a friend of Leibniz. That was Queen Sophia. She was from the Hanoverian line. And there have been some fascinating Sophias in history. I'm going to do that book as an homage to my Sophia. So what is a eulogia? What is a eulogy? Okay, it's speaking about the good, and it's speaking about the beautiful. Speaking is very important. It's what I'm doing now. And I remember teaching Sophia to speak. You know, the joys of fatherhood. I don't know who on this call has been a parent or is a parent. One of the most beautiful things is teaching the child to speak, introducing them to words, reading them stories, fairy tales. I remember sharing stories with her as a child. I would make them up. You know, I'd improvise like Grimm's fairy tales with a funny ending set in 1990s London where we were living. She was born in Notting Hill Gate at 108 Ledbury Road, right in the heart of Notting Hill. If you've seen the movie Notting Hill with Hugh Grant in it, it was filmed just around the corner. His bookshop was right near our flat. And she was born in a miraculous way with no painkillers, no need for medication, just a natural birth at home in our living room. We put fairy lights all around the room on the 13th of January, back in 1987. And it was just such a perfect birth. And ever since she was born, she's been bringing delight to everyone. And I don't remember one cross or rude word she ever spoke to me in her 37 years. She was a gentle soul, didn't shout, didn't swear. And later, she just gravitated towards poetry. She from an early age, like I did. And when she came here to France, fast forward, a few years back, I have a whole room in my house in France dedicated to literature called Thalia, who's the muse of literature. And Sophie and I would spend an hour there each evening reading poetry to each other and plays and drama. I introduced her, she'd never formally studied literature, but I introduced her to it. And she was in awe of Keats and Shelley. I introduced her to T.S. Eliot. She'd never read him. We read The Wasteland together. I introduced her to Pablo Neruda, the great Chilean poet, Wallace Stevens, Goethe, Shakespeare. We read Antony and Cleopatra to each other. She loved the rhythms of Shakespeare. And European poets like Zbigniew Herbert, Rilke. She loved them all. And the thing about Sophie is I put it like this, she understood them all because she'd taken up abode in the place where poetry comes from. It's like she understood them from the heart, from within. She wasn't expert in the technicalities of versification and, literature, but she knew them from within. And then I had an amazing opportunity to go on pilgrimage with her to Konya in Turkey. And we went to the tomb of Rumi. It's covered with a green velvet cloth. It's an awesome place, but quite very humble. It's not a great mausoleum. It's just annexed to the mosque in Konya. And we sat there in prayer, and she resonated with Rumi, like, as if she understood everything he'd written. So I thought she was coming back to France for many, many more hours of reading poetry and sharing it together. I was scheduled to she should be there with me now. Instead, she died, and I've had to come to England to bury her. Yesterday, we buried her. I just cannot believe it. Okay, the next thing I want to talk about then is the catastrophe of Sophie, because why isn't the world in peace? Why don't we all live celebrating wisdom and poetry and the muses? Well, we live in a world where the good words are attacked, often by silencing, or by bad words, by shouting, by abuse, by rudeness. And this is happening everywhere in our world, on the media, in politics, in law, in the criminal world, things like Brexit. They're full of hate speech, in the rhetoric of wars and hate speech. And it even occurs in families. We've all heard family rows. It's shocking that we can't honor the good words that we stand for. And poor Sophie couldn't understand this world very much. She came to it with a purity and innocence of heart, with good words. And often she was surrounded by people who in one form or another abused her, or belittled her, or mocked her, or ignored her and silenced her. And because I was not able to be there protecting her, unfortunately, she fell into the clutches of what I call dyslogia, which is the opposite of eulogia, good words. There are people who specialize in bad words, in insults, in rudeness. And this ultimately, this dyslogia actually killed Sophia. There's no other way of explaining it. And this really is the micro story of Sophia. If you read my book, where I go into this tragedy, that is what's happened. But I see this as a parable for our times. Eulogia, good words, are in danger of being swamped by bad words, dyslogia. So the micro story of Sophia, which we need to read and learn from. Please read my book. We've fallen a long way from what in India they call Sat Yuga, the age of truth. Sophie was a very truthful person. She lived for truth. And the age of truth is called the Golden Age in Greek mythology. It was the time of Kronos. It was an era of truth. In Christianity, we call it the Kingdom of Heaven times, garden in Sufism. But we've ended up a long way from that. For some reason, we've ended up in a strange alien world where those who lie get promoted. Those who scheme get advanced. Whereas those who tell the truth and love the truth are silenced or even killed. And we seem to be living in, therefore, I think we're living in mythologically what we could call Dvapara Yuga, which is the one just before Kali Yuga. Kali Yuga is when it's really bad, you know. We're not quite there, but we're in Dvapara Yuga, which is the one just before Kali Yuga. And this is known as the age of extreme polarization. Everything anybody says is immediately opposed and silenced by the opposite. That's where we're living, sadly. Now, poor old Sophie couldn't understand this world. She was from a different era, a different plane of consciousness. She was one of those people that live on the plane of Sat Yuga still and refused to compromise with this world of lies. Anyway, she came here, she came to France, to the Museum of the Muses, and inspired me. She was like my teacher spiritually. She inspired me to work on a book together, the two of us, which we invented the name together. It's called The 99 Names of Peace. And this was our common strategy to sort out these problems. You know, it's not enough to just name, okay, dyslogia, that's the problem. But we thought of a strategy, 99 names for peace, which are in every language. So we looked at 99 languages from all over the world, every culture, every religion, currently spoken, but also like historically important, like Sumerian, Akkadian, ancient Egyptian, Cherokee, Hopi Indian, Kashmiri, you know, carefully selected, as well as the big ones like Arabic, Hebrew, Spanish, etc., Latin, Greek. And we looked at all the names for peace in all these languages. That's what, if we're going to turn this world into a eulogic world, we need to know our names for peace, including the Gaelic and all the Celtic languages. And Sophie loved this work. She was going to illustrate it by choosing 99 illustrations that would illustrate each of these 99 languages. And she's died and can't finish that work. So please, let's find artists that could do this now. We need 99 illustrations. And each of these 99 names of peace had associated a project of which the Delphic Academy is one. The Delphic Academy and the Delphic Games. They're one of the 99 projects that Sophia and I put in the book, and we associated the projects with specific languages. And it was carefully chosen, and we published it, you know, last year. It's 2 volumes. I'm happy to share. I can send everybody a free PDF. If you want the volumes, you have to buy it. It's not expensive. And that is my commitment to Sophie's memory, is to complete. I mean, I don't know if I'm living long enough to do all 99 projects. I can't do them alone. I'll do them with your help. And another one is the World Peace Gardens Network that Sophia was treasurer for. And another is the work that Sean has been doing, you know, with the Lex Innocentium. That's another project. So anyway, it was an epic work. And dear Sophie, just her presence inspired me with this idea when she was living in my house in France for 3 months. Also, the last 4-5 months, I've been working on another project that I want to share briefly, which is when I lived in the Castle of the Muses in Scotland at Loch Goil, which I left in 2017. So I lived there for 7 years, from 2010 to 2017, and it was an absolute paradise living on a Scottish loch, My students said I was like Dumbledore living at Hogwarts. It looked like Hogwarts, only a mini version. And I used those 7 years incredibly industriously to record commentaries on all the great sacred texts. As a religious studies and philosophy teacher, you know, we work with the sacred texts of mankind. So I thought if I do a commentary on each of them, the main ones, showing how they're all interconnected, bringing out that golden thread of divine wisdom within. So I've done Plato's Timaeus, which is an epic. I did the entire Quran commentary. And I did a commentary on all the 6 Gospels. That's Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, but also Thomas and Mary Magdalene. And Sophia understood totally the Gnostic traditions of Mary Magdalene. She would come to our meetings. And I tried in this Gospel, so in these commentaries, to bring out this universal underlying wisdom element. And in the last 5 months, I was working intensively 4 or 5 hours a day on one of them, the Gospel of St. Matthew, which is the first and most important of the early, you know, it's the first amazing gospel. It includes the Beatitudes. And I said in the commentary, it's 500 pages. It's the most intense commentary on the Gospel of Matthew ever written. And I'm not just joking, it's a fact. St. Jerome did one, but mine is obviously much more up to date. It's got all the archaeological references. It's got huge bibliography and footnotes. And basically the storyline of the Gospel of Matthew is a wisdom teacher, a great rabbi, a sage, whatever you want to call him, son of God, you know, fine, who's teaching wisdom to the people. And there are other forces and factors that don't like this. They're constantly trying to silence him, shut him up, arrest him, you know, and that's what I call Sophiophobia. So I've written another book called Sophiophobia, the antithetical force in history that is opposed to wisdom comes from a fear of wisdom. Sophiophobia, it's a modern coinage based on the Greek terms. There are forces that don't want wisdom, you know, and some of them masquerade as religious. There are pseudo-religious leaders that don't want wisdom. There are political forces that don't want wisdom. I mean, why are totalitarian regimes shutting schools down, closing down ministries of education? Why is it that footballers get paid millions of dollars a week and teachers get very, very little in comparison? This is because we live in an upside down Sophia-phobic world. So anyway, I was working on this commentary on the Gospel of Matthew as a labor of love. You know, as a scholar, I love this stuff. For me, finding all kinds of avenues to explore in the text and footnoting it and finding obscure commentaries, and this is to me is heaven, right? And I finished it on the 6th of May, just gone. And that same evening, my beloved daughter, Sophia, was discovered by my other daughter at my insistence going into the flat finally. I'd kept ringing for the previous 3 weeks saying, I'm sure she's in there, go and get her. Finally, after 3 weeks of urgent appeals, she went in and she found her dead. She rang me at 10 o'clock at night, French time, saying, Dad, she's dead. You know, it's the worst thing I've ever heard in my life. This is my muse, dead, you know. And the weird synchronicity of it when I'm completing this work, which is all about how Sophiophobia appears to triumph and cause the death of a great teacher, is almost too painful to bear. But that's what happened. And, you know, I did publish the commentary. It's available on my website. And then I flew to Brighton and have dealt with the funeral and stuff. It happened yesterday. So we're living through, this is an archetypal kind of tragedy that's happened. And since she died, I have, as somebody said, I've been in a state of shock, but it's a useful state of shock. I'm not benumbed and crying, sobbing, you know, all the time, although there is that late at night and early in the morning, because I'm also in anger and grief as to how this happened. I've been racking my brains to find out how is this possible. And And how could we lose our dove, our bright jewel, our peacock, as she identified with? The peacock was her animal. And I have a picture here that she wrote, that she painted, if you can see it, of her, her totem animal, the peacock, which was Sarasvati's bird, the goddess of wisdom in India. And she loved Sarasvati. I introduced my daughters to Indian spirituality at an early age. And I was delighted she was able to go to India through the Delphic Council, through our common work. Eventually, it was, a dream come true for her to go to Calcutta. So anyway, what I've done, I channeled my grief into studies, thinking, into writing a book, because that's what I do as an intellectual. And I've written a book about the events leading to her death. It's called, an investigation into the death of Sophia Craig-Daffern, but its subtitle is The Book of Rows, because Sophia, as I said, was surrounded by bad words in a tragic sense, and you'll have to read the book to understand it. So I've published the Book of Rows, a study of Sophia's death, on my normal publisher's page at lulu.com. And really, it just tells the story of how wisdom, has a hard time in this world. There's a wonderful line in one of Bob Dylan's greatest songs, where he talks about how wisdom is thrown into jail. I can't remember the exact lyric, but it's one of his classics from one of his Christian albums. We live in an upside down world where wisdom is thrown into jail and the keys thrown away. So I've been busy since this tragic news. I've been telling the story of why Sophia ended up, Now, the police are being hopeless. They won't investigate. I had to ring the top of the Sussex police to get some action. They refused to investigate properly the leading suspect. Sophie had a habit of falling in love with toxic boy fiends. I don't call them boyfriends. I've coined the new word, boy fiend. And this last one seems to have just played narcissistic games with her. And he alone knew she was alone in that flat and didn't alert the family. We thought she was with him, safely having little adventures in a van. He knew she was alone in that flat and did not reach out to the family and say, hey, I dropped off Sophia on such and such a day. He won't even tell us the day on which he dropped her off, right? Had we known, we could have got her. I could have rung the police. We could have got in there, We would have saved this beautiful life. So this is down to this toxic boy fiend. And that raises huge questions about narcissism and toxic relationships. And of course, I've written a book about wisdom affairs. I made Sophia swear to me she'd never do a toxic relationship, would only do a wisdom affair. But of course, for all kinds of reasons that are incomprehensible to me, she didn't follow that. So we are where we are. What can we learn? What's the lessons to learn from this? I want to rename our species. I'm actually sick of Homo sapiens. We're not living up to that name. Look at Gaza, look at Ukraine. Sean has written books about the future of humanity. We've let the show down here, guys. Homo sapiens is not worth the paper it's written on. I want to coin a new name for a new type of human, which Sophie represented, which is Homo Sophiensis, which is a truly wise human. And it's a Latin for a new type of human who is sensitive, spiritually purified, an enlightened, humane being who lives for non-violence, kindness, beauty, caring, peace, compassion. This is the goal that all Christians, all spiritual people, Buddhists, whatever they call themselves, indigenous shamans, they all aspire to. I think it's time to bring it on. It's like this is the crunch time we're living through. So I'm going to suggest to scientific circles that we coin this phrase, Homo Sophiensis. What is wisdom then? How can we exemplify true wisdom? Well, to me, it's an inner knowing. I discuss this a lot with Sophie. It's an inner knowledge, but it also includes self-loving. So the Delphic games, the Delphic motto is know thyself. But with that has to come love thyself. If we forget that second bit, you know, and just do the knowledge, we can come astray. So it's jnana yoga, to use Hindu terms, Buddhist terms, plus bhakti yoga and karma yoga. It's gnosis plus faith, as the great theologian Clement of Alexandria said, and I used him in my commentary on St. Matthew. Homo Sophiensis, therefore, is someone who's capable of enlightenment, of experiencing what I call enlightenments, plural. We all do. We should treasure them. Sophia lived for that. In fact, the last course I taught with Sophia in the flesh was in Bournemouth last year, and it was on enlightenments and mindfulness. So how then do we find this wisdom? How do we actualize the wisdom within ourselves? Well, through philosophy, the love of wisdom. But then we manifest it through the arts, through what Sophie called beautification. Dance, theatre, poetry. All the works of the muses are engaged with this common work of beautification, which is a word Sophie taught me. She came to my place in France and beautified it, which meant she, you know, changed the look, bought new furniture, you know, she wanted to beautify it. She said that's part of, you can't have a Temple of the Muses and it not be absolutely spot on beautified. And I discovered from our friend Elif, who was joining us but doesn't seem to have come yet, that they have a word in Turkish for beautification. You know, it's part of their language in Turkish. And this is where the arts came in. This is why Sophie wanted to help the Delphic Academy and the Delphic Games. It's why she was honored to go to Calcutta and represent us at a meeting they had during the Durga Puja for the goddess. And she was multi-talented in the art. She had the most incredible singing voice. She was a high soprano who could hold any note of that register, and just, you know, it makes the hair of your back of your neck stand up. What we're going to try and do is put together an album of her work. And she was also a painter, an artist, and I showed you one of her examples. We have samples of all this. And a poet, and I'm going to read from some of her works a bit later. That's why she was, you know, honored to help our work, and I will be continuing with this work. In a sense, my grief is going to be channeled into even more creative action in her honor and for the muses. In the Platonic Christian and Aristotelian Christian traditions, we always value and support the work of artists, the muses. You know, the church should not be, oh, and by the way, the tragedy of this is, as she was probably dying, a new pope was coming, being installed, an American guy who seems actually quite a good bloke, and who understands what I'm talking about here. You know, because you can't have a Sophia-phobic church. By definition, the church should stand for wisdom. It's one universal, holy Catholic church of wisdom lovers, as I call it. I don't care which branch you're in. I happen to be an Anglican, but I'm at peace with all the branches, from the Gnostic to the Lutheran to the, you know, the whatever. They're all part of this holy, universal church of wisdom lovers. And she was also a Dharma seer, which is the literal etymology of the word druid. She was often going to Stonehenge and Avebury, taking part in ceremonies. The last ceremony I did with her was in Stonehenge. Last, you know, autumn equinox, we went to Stonehenge and did a ceremony with people in a circle in the middle of the stones. She understood this because she was a Dharma seer, a truth seer, which is the etymology of the word druid. So, yes, it's a loss to us all. She was just beginning to come into her power, just beginning to engage with output. She'd been nurturing it all. And for her to be taken from us at this 37 is quite young for an artist to really come into their energy. But she's left us with work to do, the 99 Names of Peace for a start. And I want to finish by just saying that she was the most loving person I know. Her heart was pure, full of love. She was affirming, kind, supportive, softly spoken, polite. And she didn't, shout, and she wasn't rude. And I found a wonderful quote from St. Peter, he wrote a couple of letters. There's a beautiful quote in 1 Peter 4. I want to read just this. The end of all things is near. Therefore be alert and of sober mind, so that you may pray. Above all, love each other deeply, because love covers over a multitude of sins. Offer hospitality to one another without grumbling. Each of you should use whatever gift you have received to serve others as faithful stewards of God's grace in its various forms. Now, implicit in that wonderful text, which comes from St. Peter, is, every artist has a different mode of service. The great poets are not all great musicians, and vice versa. The greatest painters, they had to focus on that. But if we all do it in the spirit of love, if the Delphic Arts Academy and the Delphic Games can be seen as that embodiment of perfect love in action through the arts, then I think we can help steer humanity back to the ethic that is at the root of all civilization. That's that golden thread of wisdom that I talked about in the beginning. And she inspired me years ago. In 1993, I launched the first and only academic journal in the world on the nature of love. It's called The Love Journal. And it's about the tragedy of this death is I was in the middle of just about to publish the 14th issue of it. It's ready to go to print. And then this death happened. What? So that's what we're up against. It's love and wisdom versus like suppression of love and suppression of wisdom. It's an old story, that's what the text of Matthew is about. So I want to finish with a poem that I wrote specially for this. It's called The Place of Love. Tell Apollo to switch off the sun. Our daughter Sophia is dead, fled down to Hades, we know not where. Maybe Hermes can find her. Maybe Christ can point the way with his lantern of truth. How can you weep without a body? How can you speak without a mouth? How can you sing without a voice? How can you love without a heart? These mysteries are deep as the waves on the shore, curling in, crashing, receding, again and again. Lives come and go. We come into form, and then, poof, as the wave crashes, the form goes. Form is emptiness. Matter is spirit. Touch is mind. We are one breathing, one light together. Tell Apollo to switch off the sun. Blow out the candles. Switch off all the fairy lights. Shut down the stars. Snap shut the screens. Let us all sit in the dark and gaze into the blank, everything fullness of the dark, the beingness of nothing, into the rich ground where we all began, in our little stone friendships with everything, as children, carrying tiny stones from place to place, loving simple grasses, or an insect, or the magics of a skimming bird, or clouds changing shapes. And so the cycle goes on. The form that was Sophie is with the infinite, which is how God heals all pain. Because being unfinite, he can always see all sides simultaneously of everything and take you there to the place of complete loving, where Sophia is. Thank you. So there's my eulogy for my daughter, and she was an honored member of this project and a beautiful human being. So I hope something of that is conveyed through this. Before we move on to Kari, does anyone want to comment or give some feedback here?
I just want to say I'm really touched to get to know her through your words, Thomas, and through the way you talk about her. You know,
she was a beautiful soul.
I get that. Yes,
you have children,
I get that.
Yeah.
What's
Do you
that?
have children? Do you yourself have?
No, I never felt the call to go that way. I had other callings.
Right.
But I have seen what the death of a child does to a parent, you know, what it can do. And I'm really grateful that it's actually somehow feeding a fire in you. I'm glad for that. And again, I've sort of fallen in love with her just listening to how you speak of her.
She was beautiful. Can I just say about that, Claire, that I did some research for my book about her death. I discovered that every day on this planet, 25,000 women and girls are dying preventable and needless deaths every day. That means deaths in war, bombing, partner abuse, killing, murder, suicide, you know, medical things that could have been prevented easily. So 25,000 women and girls are dying, also 25,000 boys and men, 50,000 a day on this planet. So that's 25,000 families in grief, like my family is, every day. And they're all preventable. Now that, you know, that figure to me is shocking. And I want us in the Delphic Academy to like do something about this. We want to create a world of beauty and meaning and depth. We honor each other. We honor the muses within our, you know, compassment. Instead of like senseless killing and death, it's so, yeah, it's wrong. So thank you.
Yeah, and I'm enjoying your relationship with each other that you and she had, learning about that. Thank you.
Thank you. Inga, go for it.
Thank you, Thomas, and bless Sophie's spirit activating the flame in all of us. But as the Delphic Council and the Delphic Academy has watered the flow of water to come and refresh us, and the call for this symphony of divine feminine peace. I've been fortunate to be staying with you in your Institute for Peace, Thomas, and I haven't slept in Sophie's bedroom, but I've used her blankets and some of her warm cap. So I feel that her spirit is here with me. But my friend Alexander, he has been camping in her beautiful room that was she prepared for herself. And definitely, I know that Alex probably is busy with his kids in Miami, where he is right now. But I think you're touching something here. It's the suffering, the pain that all girls are suffering as we speak right now around the planet.
Yeah. So we have
And yeah, I'm not going to speak long, but I just want to say that yesterday I also watched football documentary about women and its right to play. And in fact, it was already in Mexico in 1971, the biggest world championship for women to play football. But the FIFA, the sportsmen of FIFA and football in Zurich in Switzerland, they put a complete seal on it and make it forbidden. So not 20, 25 years later, it was allowed to have a football World Cup championship. And I'm expressing this with divine equal rights and the feminine spirit of Gaia and the planet. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, no, that's good. Another form of Sophiophobia is the repression of women, because they're a threat to the male power structures of society, which are premised on war and militarism.
Yeah.
You know, Marx left all this out, but I'm putting it back in my commentary on Das Kapital. Okay, Ginger had a hand up. Ginger, do you want to comment before we move on?
Yes, first of all, just to hear and feel that lovely relationship that you had with Sophie. It's just washes over me. And knowing that she is encompassed, we're all encompassed with the Holy Spirit Comforter. But you're what I would like for you to consider and remind you that for us, with this Sophia Christos light within each of us, there is no death for us. And I love the 1 Peter 5:10. Whilst I call you unto glory through Christ Jesus, after ye have suffered a while, I will perfect, strengthen, establish, settle you. And so that's where I know we'll all be gathered together again one day in that realm of glory, where all the ascended masters are, all the good words are, that realm of glory. That's my heaven. And so, my darling, I think it's wonderful that we are now unified, focused in this conscious field of intent, of having all of that here in the now. Faith is all possible. So let's get going.
Thank you.
I love you a gazillion times.
Thank you.
And it was a beautiful service yesterday. It was lovely. The hearing her sing, and then just if two or three more are gathered in my name, they shall be there. He shall be there. And that beautiful room was filled with the Shekinah glory. It was there. It was beautiful.
Thank you.
All
Yeah,
right,
some
sweetie.
people were able to watch online. Yeah,
Yes.
that was only half of the service. We couldn't show the chapel one,
Yes.
the church.
Yeah, I realized.
Okay, Sean, you have your hand up. Do you want to
yes,
contribute, please?
Thomas, just very briefly, just for people who don't know, we did launch a relaunch in ancient Irish law last year, and it was a very important project from our point of view. And I think 80 odd people signed it, and I'm really delighted that Sophie was one of the signatures. And thank you very much, Thomas, for having her name on that. And that has gone into a time capsule with the 80 names. So it just
500 years from now, they'll read our signatures and know that we were trying to outlaw wars that destroy and kill innocents in the tradition of Saint Adomnan. So let's keep going with that and redouble our efforts. Yeah, thank you for the work you're doing in reviving this ancient Irish human rights law, essentially. Thank you. Okay, look, blessings. I think it's time to move on. I might say a few words at the end. I've got a couple of poems to read out from Sophia, but I'd like to move on and invite our dear friend from Norway, Kari Hyman, to present some of your work and tell us about what you do, and then give us some examples, because Sophie wants us to not dwell on the past and grief, but rather what are the living arts now, and tell us about this Sami music tradition you're involved with. Kari, over to you.
Yeah, thanks.
Sorry, you're muted somehow.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you for your strong and wonderful words. It was really touching, even though I don't know you and I don't know Sophie, but now I know you a little bit more. So thank you for that. Yeah. And I'm so sorry for your loss. Yeah, I don't know how the sound will be, but I will try to give you an example of yoik. I feel the melody is quite fitting to your words, even though it's not about a human. It's a calling to a reindeer, to a faithful reindeer. Salty not salty not saltek saltek what you get. No, Saltek what you get. Yeah, that was it. How was the sound? Is it very dry and weird, or is it okay?
That was beautiful, that sound.
Okay.
It sounds like a lament. I mean, I know it's
I feel so too. It sounds like, that's why I thought it was fitting here. Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like a lament.
Yeah.
Yes. So tell us where you learned the Sami singing. What is that tradition you're singing from?
Yeah, actually, you're supposed to be born into the tradition of yoik. But I guess you all know, that there has been an assimilation going on by the Norwegian government, that the Samis were assimilated. So I'm one of the assimilated Samis. So I actually did not grow up with the yoik. But I have been digging into the yoik tradition for many, many years, because I want to take back what was lost. So I've been studying yoik and tried to find. There's not much yoik from my district, actually, because that's one of the most assimilated regions. It's the coastal Sami areas. The coastal Samis were very much assimilated, and yeah, almost all the yoiks and the culture, the language, of course, was gone. So I'm trying to take it back. I'm taking language courses, and I'm kind of specializing now in the yoik tradition. So I've been studying both the South Sami tradition and the Northern Sami tradition. I myself is a North Sami, Sea Sami woman, and the yoik is very special in this way, because the thing or the object you're yoiking, it's so closely linked to yeah, to yourself in a way. It's different from the singing tradition, because if you sing a song, you can sing about a person, or you can sing about the countryside, or you can sing about a river. But when you yoik, you don't yoik about anything. You yoik it. You yoik the object. So away with the preposition. So it's more closely linked. And I myself, I'm quite closely linked to my land and to the nature up here. I live in Alta, up in the northernmost region of Norway, and I like going hiking, and I like using the nature, and I love the sea. I guess it's because I'm a sea Sami. So when I do traditional yoiks as well, and I do my own. And when I make yoik, I made some nature yoiks. So for example, I made a yoik to the sea where my mother was born. She was born in Kiberg. It's on the eastern northeast, and quite close to Russia actually. And I was there just walking on that shore, just feeling the sea, feeling the sounds from the sea, and feeling that sometimes rhythmic patterns from the waves, smaller waves, and sometimes not, and the bigger waves and rhythmic patterns, and then not, and just the sensations of being there. And I think the whole sensation with my mom's house just there by the shore, thinking of her, and the sounds. She woke up to the sounds of the sea. She fell asleep to the sounds of the sea, and so then I made this yoik, Mera. It means the sea in Sami. And then I use my voice, and I try to use the frame drum to describe the sea, because it's not that easy to describe with words. So I'm describing it with the yoik melody and the frame drum, and just vocables, so no words actually. I can try to do a little bit of the sea for you.
Please, yes, with the drum would be lovely. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So I don't know how it will. I think I have to just try to see if the drum will be okay together with my voice. Just tell me. Is the drum to
We can hear fine. That's fine.
Well, unless, can I just check, Carrie, do you have your original sound on? Original sound for musicians on? Because that's really the guarantee that allows everything in the room to be heard.
Yeah, where should I? Is there some settings I should check here? I'm not too technical.
Yeah, if we'll give it like 30 seconds, and if it's too complicated, we'll drop it. But basically, if you look at your Zoom window, bottom left, you'll see a microphone that says audio.
Yeah.
So click on the little arrow to its right.
Yeah.
At the bottom of that drop-down list, you'll see audio settings.
Yeah.
Click on that.
Yeah.
And then you'll see there's highlight speaker, microphone, audio profile.
Yeah.
Under audio profile, you want the third item selected, original sound for musicians.
Okay.
It says auto, low, medium, and advanced. Should I click on advanced?
Under audio profile, so it goes speaker at the top, then microphone.
One down. Scroll
and then
down.
audio profile.
Yeah, I see the audio profile, but I don't
And it
see
says
anything.
Zoom background noise removal, personalized audio isolation, original sound for musicians.
I had to click on advanced.
Kari,
Yeah.
scroll texten ett hakk ned. Så det ligger, du ser, den stopper på
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, original sound for musicians. Okay.
Yeah, so just make sure that's highlighted or selected, and then you can close that window.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
Now
highlighted.
you come back to the main window with all of
Should it
us.
say echo cancellation as well?
Whatever is the
also
default, you
clicked.
can leave it as is.
Yeah, okay. So now it's okay.
So now in the normal window on top right, you'll see original sound for musicians, and it will probably say off. Top right of the
Top
Zoom
right.
window.
Top right
At the
on
same
all
window.
pictures, on your pictures, on your photo.
Like where we all are, the main Zoom window.
Or should I just close this one now?
Yes, close
Yeah,
it.
okay. And now, yeah, it says original sound for musicians. It says off.
Correct. Now click the word off and it'll be on.
Okay.
And that's it. That's all you have to do.
Okay. Thank
Well
you.
done. You're a real professional. We love you. Thank you. Good.
Okay. I will just start, and I think you should stop me, wave your hands or something if the drum is far too loud, because then it will not be a nice experience. Okay?
Sure. We will. Yeah.
Na 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 yo no yo la 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 yo no yo na 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 yo no yo la 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 yo no yo na 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 yo no yo. Yo
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
That was brilliant.
Yeah. Did you hear
Kari,
the
thank
sea?
you. Yeah. Can I just ask one final question?
Yeah.
The word yoik is
Yeah.
a Sami word, right? What does
No,
it actually mean?
actually, it's not a Sami word. There
Okay,
are
what does yoik mean?
yoik is just like taken from the verb of yoiking in Sami, which is yoigat. But there are many words. There are so many Sami languages. So the northern Sami word for yoik is luohti, and the South Sami word is vuelia. And then we have several other volle, vuella, and loud, the Russian Sami word. So there are actually
So the verb you said yoik is from, is that to sing or?
No, it's to yoik.
So it's untranslatable.
Yeah, it's you have to translate it into to do the yoiking. Yeah,
Okay.
to yoik.
Pardon me,
I'm interested.
may I just suggest it's a spirit word. It's gotta, yeah, it has to come from the spirit. It's a spirit music. It's a spirit release.
Yeah.
Yes,
that's what flitted across my spirit.
From here. I feel the joy comes much more from my heart and my inner than the singing, actually.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. No, I'm interested because in the 99 Names of Peace, Sami is one of the languages. And we included words for peace. And I researched the Sami language. I discovered Joni Mitchell has partly Sami ancestry. She's Canadian, great singer, but she's from Sami Norwegian background. So anyway, it was very wonderful. Thank you for sharing your gift. And also, I just want to say that in the Celtic Druid tradition, when somebody dies in ancient Gaelic, Scotland or Ireland, there's a tradition called keening. Keening was a thing that the whole village or the area, the clan, when somebody died, they would come together and they would do what you've just done. Like you would call it yoiking, we would call it, keening. And it would be led by the chief bard of the area who would start it off. And it was sounds of grief that would come out. And that gave a sort of communal relief at the death, the passing of someone. And that tradition is still kept alive. A friend of mine is going on a keening workshop up on a remote Scottish island next month. And they're going to put Sophie's name into the keening circle as they practice this.
That's nice, yeah.
So thank you very much, Kari. You're an angel.
Thanks for having me. Yeah.
No, it's our pleasure.
Unfortunately, I can't stay the whole meeting. I have the flu, so I just have
to lie down. It's an honor. Well, Inga Meta's going to speak now, so maybe just stay while she does her thing.
Yes, I will.
Inga Meta, do you want to comment a bit, or you want to talk about the Delphic movement in general? I believe.
Shannon wanting to say something.
Yes, please. Thank you so much, Thomas. It's so good to be here. I'm so glad that Ginger invited me and that I was honored to hear what Kari had to share. And I just want to say, I'm a writer. That's my gift. And one of the things that I write about is the magic in ordinary moments, Mom, that guides us through life. And sometimes the things that she does seem like synchronicities. But what happened for me when you were sharing was that my eyes flicked to the clock, and the clock said 1, 1, 2, 3. It's a sequence of numbers that indicates to me that Mom is in the room. She is present. And I'm so grateful that I'm able to bring that here to you and to Thomas. Sophie is here, and she is very grateful. She is with Mom. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Helen.
Pardon me, that's precisely what I shared with Thomas the other day. She is here. She is in that unified focus field of joy and love, the fruit of the Spirit. So, oh my gosh, oh, synchronicity, confirmation. What a joy. God bumps the size of golf balls.
Right. Okay, thank you. Thank you for that moving thing. And I have to just say, I'm writing a book of synchronicity. It's a Druid logbook. And I had more incredible synchronicities with Sophie than with anyone else, like in her presence. And even her death is full of synchronicities. So they will continue. Okay, let's move on to asking Ameta now, if we can, to share her words of wisdom for us. What comfort can you share with us? And
So,
I will let you share from your screen if you want
yes,
to. Please do.
First of all, Kari, thank you so much. And I did know that you were going to talk about water and the ocean. And I decided that I wanted to share an ordinary moment in my life and what I'm trying to do. And I'm improvising a bit. But I think you will like it. The Delphic movement, the healing of waters, as you can see on that side, way. And the call for a symphony of peace, and to explore how we can have this startup for peace, because as we know, the world is colored by very harsh words and evil words and hatred, and instead of beauty, instead of celebration. But in a way, there is not so far away that we can actually celebrate with music and where good hearts unite in oneness. So I will, let me see now, I'm going to share something here. And it's about dreams. And it's about a dream of a project. I'm working on a boat that I met last week. And it's based here in my small village of Molde. And it's just a dream catcher that is going to be offering a visit to the fjords and the North Atlantic Ocean here where I'm living. So catch your dream, set your sails, and welcome to your own dream. And then I'm working with young people around the world, and they have made this trident, that kind of the symbol of the conqueror of the ocean. So the trident, I'll come back to that one. But here is the vision, is that we will start our way to have a different understanding of tourists. So this is the view that we are looking at as I look out of the window. And on this here, it's the Heart Island, we call it. And we call it, this is the, as you can, I'll come back to that picture. So we're seeing a nice trips to this beautiful island by the Atlantic Ocean, where James Bond is making his film, where the most popular destination. We have the sailing the Atlantic Ocean to small villages on the coast. And then we have the big hotel by the harbor here that is shaped like in glass construction, as we see in bigger cities. And then we have the hiking, and then we have the playfulness, and then we have departure. So it's like a 6 day, and it's a beautiful luxury, but if it's solar power, solar panels, and elegance, and a way to sail without using any kind of oil and gas, etc. It's by the wind. So I created this one yesterday. So there's the Dreamcatcher Adventure, and We Are the Ocean hashtag is United Nations week next week, because they're going to celebrate the United Nations Ocean week for 2 weeks in Nice. So they have it, be nice to the ocean, share your love with the ocean. So I was saying, okay, let us do something local for the young kids here in our village. And here's the football stadium, as you can see, where the men are playing, not the women. We're the champions, the men are the champions here. So this is the heart island and below the ocean. And we have this thing about having an impact when you explore yourself. So again, this small village has this whale as the symbol. So it's a story about the whale sending a message of peace. So imagine where dreamers are sailing together in a unity for a better world. So the dreamers are not alone anymore. The dreamers have found their own way to find a way to unite. June 8 is a global ocean day. And this is just my improvisation. I just put it down because it's in my head. So let me put up these everyday thoughts that I have. So it's the blue planet, and we can share a small story from our local youth here about being in love with nature. And we love the ocean. From the whale to the world, a youth call to protect the oceans. On the other side then, I'm also working with the scientists that is working on recording the sound of the snow and the ice that is melting and the sound of the waves in the oceans. So this is one of those small narrow fjords we can hike and visit. So then again, this is the arousal of falling in love with nature. What is the beauty that we can see in our gardens as the springs are coming and the leaves are falling in the fall and the ice is covering everything? So here I started to improvise again. So let's speak about this beautiful in poetry and to celebrate that in love we are united. It's the 99 names of peace. And so we want that story to rest in heaven with all of us. So above, so below. This is the utopian architecture. It's between solar for the dystopian and the utopian reality of life. There is a solar punk movement where artists are celebrating the ecological movements of the planet. So this is the gardens of bringing the Garden of Eden down to a reality again. How can we do that? Inspired by the 99 names of peace, volume 1 and volume 2, that Thomas and also Sophia has brought to life. Here is under the two big books that I took pictures of in February when I was in Paris with Thomas, and how the moment for the Delphic Council and the Delphic Academy to talk about how we can empower the arts and a culture for peace. On the upper left here, you see an installation that it's 12 meters tall, and it was inside the Grand Palais in Paris in February as an exhibition. L'arme de Midas, that's the tear of King Midas. He wanted everything to be out of gold. And he was tearing so much, and he understand when he touched his daughter and his wife and his loved one, they were frozen into gold, and there was a disaster to follow. In this mythical world of having the gardens of peace, what can we do with the Delphic movement in beauty and wisdom, power of creativity, and a call for a symphony of peace? Here you see the logo that is on Christian and Waltraud's webpage, the Delphic.org. You see there's a startup for peace. How can we kickstart a movement that is calling and inspires us spinning wheels for peace? And what is the role for us as the Delphic Academy to bring this forward? And I was talking with Alexander earlier today, and also with Christian and Waltraud, and said it has to be launched in Europe now. We have to reach Italy, the Olympic Games in Italy next 2026, the Winter Olympics. But is it within reach? But how can we really bring this peace, startup for peace, to Los Angeles and unite us all? So here you see the different International Delphic Council and how the linking arts and culture, and how the symbols of the rainbow as it is. and the water splashing all over us as of tears, but also the salt water of the ocean. So in the Olympic Games, the flame is the symbol. The Delphic Academy have the flow of water as the water is inside of our own body, and how we live on that, the blue planet, water planet. So 2024, it was Paris. Then it goes to winter, 2026 in Torino. Then it goes to summer in 2028 in Los Angeles, and 2030 back into the French Alps. So it goes back into the European continent with our desire to create democracy, equality, and diversity, and a culture for peace. How can we unite both the flame and the water to flow in the right direction for all of us? So I was surprised by the peace horse riding on the Nile. I saw that as a symbol, a call for the peace horses. Today or before, they were war horses. No, they are peace horses. So we started this thing with Pax Equus, and Thomas knows it, Alexander knows it. What is this peace horse? How can we ride that and bring that flow to the blue planet, to different harbors and lighthouses as a force of peace? How can we get the riding horse on the Nile bring back these ancient roots of modern Olympic spirit? But the Delphic spirit was alive before they could actually create the Olympic spirit. But it was a call to unite and to ride the story of peace. So you also had women participate at that time in ancient Olympic Games. And of course, Thomas and some of you can even explain these things more and better. So last year I was in Venice, the city that is uniting East and West and is sinking down into the force of the water and the ocean. It's a beautiful, iconic place where a family has been holding the history through peace and through war along the Silk Road between East and West, and all of us to be united as explorers. This is the palace. So there is a story even between the art of horses connecting Paris and Venice, when one is in Paris here, and then they move it back to Venice when Napoleon lost the war, and then they move the horses back and forth. But then you saw it in Paris on the Olympic Games. Look who's talking about the horse, and you can see the cowboys and Indians riding all the way to Los Angeles in 2028. So that's what I'm saying. What can we do with this flame and the flow of water, and to unite a positive peace culture? So what can we do for a startup for peace and the ocean and the blue planet and the waters that is alive in all of us? So this is just like, it's just like an improvisation again today. What is the Delphic portal? How can we launch something? How can know yourself, bring this temple of Apollo and the wisdoms of the Oracle of Delphi, know who we are as human beings. Who are we? A peace ceremony in cities and gardens and sacred landscapes. Digital portal connecting youth globally with immersive media. How can we do that? How can a floating vessel like Dreamcatcher, many other boats will do the same, carrying the cultural peace in their sails? So this is the Delphic Garden and the peace bell ceremony at each port that I'm just calling for as a startup for peace, in the memory of the wisdom that we all have within us as living wisdom. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Inga Meta. That was beautiful, and it follows on beautifully from the singing tradition of the sea Sami. And for those that don't know, I mean, Sophie lived by the sea in Brighton, and in my poem, I went to sit by the sea the other day, take my grief to the ocean, and that's where the image of the waves came in, how life comes to us in form like a wave and goes back. So there are many resonances here, and thank you for all the thought you put into it. I've asked if possibly we might hear a final contribution to close our meeting from Dana, who is in Hawaii, another beautiful island in the middle of the ocean, and who will share with us some music to close our meeting. But before we do that, I want to share just a few images of my daughter and talk to you about them, just to finish. So I hope that you'll be able to see this. If you can, please try sharing. It's a brief statement. Sophia Craig-Daffern, a memorial tribute to him. Can you see that?
I can't. Have you shared your screen?
Let me go back to Zoom, and I thought I had, but let me go back in. Right, share. Okay. Something's happening. So can you see it now?
Not me. Can anyone else?
Can anyone else see it? Sophia Craig-Daffern.
No,
Any other
it's not visible yet, Thomas.
Not yet. Okay, let me try again. Sorry about this.
Take your time.
Technicalities. Strange. Right. Okay, entire screen. Oh, memorial tribute. There it is. That's the one. Right, that should be coming up now. Share. Right. How's that?
It's coming.
I apologize. Have you got it now?
No.
But you've done something right, because it's showing that it's trying to share.
You are share, right? Just give it a sec.
It might be your internet connection, Thomas. Might just be a little slow.
Could that have anything to do with the fact I've got 100 different programs and all that stuff?
Maybe.
No, I think it's coming now. It's coming.
Here it is.
You can
We
see
see
it.
it. We see it. I see it at least.
Right.
Yes.
Okay, I think it's there now. It says you're sharing.
Yeah.
So look, I just want to talk you through a few images of my daughter recently taken. This is Sophia sitting in the courtyard of the Musée de Cluny in Paris. We went there when she was last in France, in Paris. And the Musée de Cluny, if you don't know, it is a magnificent building in the heart of the left bank, the old student quarter, just near the Sorbonne. And it was the residence of the abbot of Cluny Monastery, which is in Burgundy, not far from me. And it's one of the oldest, most important preserved medieval buildings in Paris. And it now houses the French National Museum of Medieval Art. An absolute dream to go. And Sophie wanted very much to go. And it has this amazing tapestry hopefully you can see this now.
Yes.
There's a picture of Sophia in front of the tapestry. Can you see that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
This is the famous unicorn tapestry, which is one of the classics of French medieval art. It's a series of, I think it's 9 huge tapestries. That's just one of them. And each of them features a unicorn. It's full of allegorical symbolism. It was made in the 1400s. People have written about this, trying to work out what it symbolizes. It seems to symbolize the senses and certain faculties of the mind. And each of these tapestries represents a different aspect of being human. And they all feature this beautiful lady and the unicorn, and often the lion who's holding the banner there. And Sophie just adored this stuff. And she's always had a great fondness for magical arts, what we call fantasy art, the unicorn tradition, and so on and so on, and the literature of the Arthurian legends and so on. And it was, for her, it was like paradise on earth, being there in this amazing museum. And here's she in the courtyard, to give you an example of what this amazing museum is like. When you're next in Paris, please go. It's got loads of amazing medieval art, and this is Sophie with her gaze. Now this is another image I want to share. This is the bed Sophie insisted on buying for her bedroom when she was here. This is her Napoleonic style French bed, which she decorated wherever she was. She beautified. And so this is an example of Sophie in residence here in the Museum of the Muses. She would sleep with the cat on her at night. She loved animals and plants and loved being here in the village, which is a rural little village. Within 2 minutes, you're in the countryside by the lakes. So it gives you an example. And then this is her in Thalia, the muse of poetry I mentioned in my eulogy. This is her reading poetry to me. It was winter, so she's wearing like Dr. Zhivago clothes. But it's a treasure, a feast to have her here. And I'm just in grief that she will never be back. I can't believe it. And then this is her in the little church in the village of Tet, one sunset. You can see the sun on the walls and in her eyes, gazing out. I had a strange experience 2 days after I heard she died. I was sleeping and woke up with a sunbeam coming directly into my room, the philosophy room, the table, Inga Meta and Alexander, where we had our meeting when you were here, the philosophy table. And a sunbeam broke into the room and shone right on that table. And I had this kind of download, Sophia saying, "Don't worry, Dad, I've gone to the sun. I'm in the light." And then there were several other strange synchronicities about sunlight. It takes physical light 6 minutes, I think, to get from the sun to planet Earth. I presume souls can travel faster than light. I haven't looked into the physics of that, but that's my intuition. So she's probably exploring the universe as we speak. I now want to just read one or two of her poems to give you a flavor. This is her poem called Ever Evolving. I'm working on a collected poem anthology of hers. Ever evolving, dissolving, revolving, golden love, droplets of the sweetest nectar, kisses for her to grow as you move, expanding, stand in, hand in heart. Then you start to remember the unending spiral of love, revolving, evolving, dissolving, golden love, ascending, extending, growing, showing, knowing, flowing, floating, ocean of bliss, knowing this with the waves unfolding, the moment of flux, kissing the sand between the worlds, as you dance the mysteries into being. Here, now, ever present, ever knowing, surrounded by yourself, ready to stand inside, the self that sees beyond seeing, the self that knows beyond thought, the self that sees behind life, your truest self, your highest self, your purest self. Trust, know, show, begin within. That's an example of one of Sophie's poems. She writes it, they're almost like Upanishads, for those that know the Upanishadic tradition. This is her in the winter with me, with our fire. She loved this room. This room is called Apollo, actually, in the Musée des Muses here in France. And I won't read this one. It's another beautiful poem, but they will be ready. This is her set up for performing with her singing bowls in Bournemouth at our course on enlightenments. And you'll see wherever she went, she had fairy lights. She had the most beautiful voice. So she would always sing to the bowls and, you know, bless us with that. And here's a final image I want to show. This is an Italian Renaissance painting of the 9 Muses. And you'll see Hermes is watching with the winged horse Pegasus and the Hermes Caduceus. You know, I think Sophie is definitely checking all this stuff out. Once you're freed from the body and your soul can explore, it must be great fun. But on the other hand, we mortals miss our capacity to interact and be with each other physically. So that's what I wanted to share. I'd like to ask Dana if you're ready to share with us. I'm going to stop sharing now. She has, what's so amazing is Dana's, they have a similar voice, have the same love of sound and healing and the music of the bowls. So are you ready, Dana, to end our meeting?
Thomas, I've been running around for the last 20 minutes trying to get my setup because I have to use my setup.
Yeah.
So, and it was in all different places. So I'm almost ready to try to do something.
Well, I've got one more poem I can read whilst.
And I hope I can tag into the recording of this because I'd love to be more focused in hearing a lot of what was just shared.
Yeah. Okay, let me finish
I'm gonna
with
have to
one last poem. Yeah.
Switch the microphone I'm using and stuff. So, and everything. Anyway.
Are you ready, or shall I read?
No, go ahead with the poem. Go do the poem.
I'll do one last poem from Sophie. This was part of our memorial service we held, and for those that weren't able to attend, it's a beautiful poem that Sophie wrote. It's about gratitude. I am grateful for this day as she shines on us all. I am grateful for the gentle, peaceful dawn, pink in all her splendor, silently coming into fruition. I am grateful for the gentle moon, radiant with her wondrous glow, captivating, magnetic, harmonious. I'm grateful for a restful sleep, warm, comfortable, and soft. I'm grateful for all the people who have made my life feel so much better just by being there. I'm grateful for my family, for their appreciation of all that I am. I'm grateful for the lives I encounter at each moment, bringing ever more love into my being. I'm grateful for the earth and all her beautiful creatures as they inspire my heart to dance to their song. I'm grateful for the sky angels as they dance their song into being. I'm grateful for the silent ones, present, true, rooted and strong, as they give me hope for a better future, filled with abundance, beautiful energy and vitality. I'm grateful for the soft blanket of grass that shields the underneath dwellers, bringing them warmth, serenity, and peaceful comfort. I am grateful for the ocean, as Her Majesty reminds me of how incredible this world can be if we all pause just a moment to take in her stillness, the horizon bringing clarity, stillness, interconnectedness, while the waves undulate our individuality, motionless with movement, the dance of existence, just like the wave upon the shore, caressing each moment with her love. A moment with you brings my being fully into alignment, to surrender to the gentle flow of grace surrounding us. I am truly grateful for the moment right here, right now, with you. So there's a last poem from Sophie, and if Dana's ready, we could go into our final session of sharing. You'll have to unmute, Dana.
Okay, just a second. I'm going to transition here. Sorry, Thomas, I only saw this thing on Facebook when I woke up an hour ago, and so I was completely unready, but let me just, and then you asked me, and I said I would do it, so then I was just running around trying to set up, so just give me 1 sec.
It's nice to have a moment of quiet together.
Silence is golden.
Well, whilst we're waiting for Anna, I'm going to, I'll share a singing bowl here, which I did at the graveside yesterday. It's a little song I've made up in Sophie's honor, and you'll soon catch the flow of it. Oh, I better do that thing.
Let me try to do it. I'm doing it in a little bit different way than I might normally because of the quick transition. And also because my computer is having sound issues, so I have to do it in a different way. Anyway, since a lot of people mentioned the ocean, and I love the ocean, and I'm a mermaid, and I'm a being of the ocean. The ocean is my home on Earth, and a lot of my sacred sound infusions connect to the ocean and actually draw on the ocean. So this one I think I'll share is one that I created as part of a meditation to send unconditional love in the form of waves of liquid light into the oceanic grid networks, which I believe is like the master energetic communication system on Earth. So we can think about doing that, sending universal unconditional love as waves of liquid light out into the oceanic grids. And we're also
It's a little
joined
bit
in this
low,
by
isn't it?
dolphins and whales who do that all the time with their sound. Can you hear me okay?
It's a bit low, as she said, but once you start playing, I'm sure we'll
And
hear
I'm
it.
sorry, I'm in Hawaii and I kind of just woke up, so it's not my optimal voice. I never do this in the morning, but
No, we'll hear you fine, Dana. Go for it. Go for it.
Sophie.
Thank you so much,
Thank
Dana.
you.
That was beautiful and so appropriate, fitting for
Can't hear you.
everything we've talked about.
Okay.
I want to just end with one final thought based on what you've just shared. Maybe you know this, maybe you don't, but the legend of the founding of Delphi is that a Minoan ship was guided off course to land at Delphi by a shoal of dolphins, which was Apollo's sacred animal. And Apollo's sacred dolphins brought the ship to shore, and they founded Delphi there. And the word Delphi, dolphin, are all connected, also with the Greek word for the womb. So, you know, these are all watery interconnections for humanity. And that's why our games and our Delphic Academy, we're trying to bring back the interconnectedness of all water. So thank you all for coming today and honoring Sophia, taking the Delphic Academy's work forward. I'm going to finish with one last gift, which is, I did this at the graveside yesterday of Sophia, and I just want to share with you this little Druid bardic offering. I think you should be able to hear it. And you'll see why. Sophie's gone. But her love lives on. Sophie's gone. But her light lives on. Sophie's gone. But her truth lives on. So, blessing, thank you so much, all of you, for coming and being part of this.
Thank you,
It's been an
Thomas.
honor. Thank you for coming. And I will, you know, we meet again in 2 months' time. Hopefully by then, hopefully the state of the world will be a bit better. And we will have stopped the killings in Ukraine and Gaza. And, you know, let's redouble our efforts to bring beauty instead of pain and suffering and preventable needless death. Okay, so look, I'm going to stay on this call to get the chat. I'm going to capture the chat, and if I shut it down, I won't get it. So you guys need to leave.
Can I say something?
And then I can stay on with the chat, if that's how it works, I think.
If I may, I just asked Dana if she has a link for her music. Oh, okay. Yes, because it was so. This is my first time being here, and I have to tell you, thank you so much, Ginger, for inviting me. Thank you. My ancient ones, we're ancient brothers and sisters, so welcome home. Thank you. And thank you, Dana, for the music. Thank you.
Yes,
Namaste, all.
magical.
And
I just wanted to, I didn't hear everything that happened after I did the music because I had to switch back to my other headset. But I wanted to just mention, I was surprised to see two people that I know here. Like I was not expecting to see anybody that I know at this meeting. And I know Shannon and Ginger and from other circles. So I was like, wow, how do you guys know Thomas? Like, what are you doing here? Because I know Thomas in such a different way. And I didn't know that anyone that I knew in my other circles, you know, might be here. So two people.
Well, it's a good example, isn't it? We're all interconnected. And you know the phrase Matakuyasan, the Sioux Indian prayer, Matakuyasan. It's instead of amen, they say Matakuyasan. And that means we're all relatives, we're all interconnected. So let me just finish saying Matakuyasan.
Yeah, it's great. It's great that the circles are widening.
Yeah.
And yeah, I would love to receive the recording of this meeting because I didn't catch the beginning, and then I was like setting up my stuff for most part of it. So
sure.
I'd love to.
Then I'll send everyone a recording who's come, and yeah, let's meet again in 2 months, and you know, invite more artists and poets, and maybe Carolyn can show us some of her artwork next time. That would be lovely. Okay, so look, Matakuyasan to everyone, and go forward and you know, keep this energy flowing, and bless you all. Thank you in the name of
Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Yeah. Ciao.
Ciao, ciao. Thank you.